Hi, this is Sara Runyans with Cove Living Brokered by eXp Realty. And today on Hyperlocal in Huntsville, Alabama, I'm bringing to you Dr. Porter of Functional Chiropractic on South Parkway. I am so excited to talk to him. I have a friend who went to Dr. Porter. She told me he changed her life. So let's see what he has to say about what he does. I'm very excited to get into this conversation. So, Dr. Porter, please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I've been a chiropractor for just over 10 years and had my business. On Monday, I actually celebrate my 10th anniversary of my business in Huntsville. Last year, I also opened a satellite office in Fayetteville, Tennessee. So I have the experience of starting two chiropractic businesses. You could say I'm originally from Huntsville. I wasn't born here, but grew up here and then lived in several different areas around the country. But after I graduated, decided to come back to Huntsville to start my business, and I'm glad I did because it's gone very well since I've
Mhm.
been here. And it's amazing that it's already been 10 years.
That's amazing. That's awesome. I'm glad you chose Huntsville to come back to. It's a great place. So, so you told us a little bit about your background, but could you go into more detail in the story of how your business came to be and what inspired you to start it?
Yeah, well, I think most chiropractors find it because they themselves usually either struggle with a health issue or find themselves into a chiropractic office. And the most common response, once people truly understand what chiropractic is and what it can do for them, is saying that it was life changing. It's probably a phrase we're gonna say a few times
Mhm.
on today's
Mhm.
video, but
Mhm.
it truly was life changing. Sometimes it happens after one adjustment, sometimes it happens after being there for a few months. But I grew
Mhm.
up not very healthy. I mean, I was a healthy weight, I was pretty
Mhm.
active, but I had chronic issues, both biomechanic, postural, but
Mhm.
also allergies and asthma and digestive issues and
Mhm.
headaches, all these things that unfortunately in today's society we think are just normal things. But
Mhm.
especially after my years of experience, I tell people it's not normal and there's a better way to
Mhm.
live. And
Mhm.
chiropractors are the ones bringing that out of people and teaching people about health, not just labeling a diagnosis on them, but giving people hope. When I met a chiropractor out in Seattle, and he, out of the kindness of his friendships, insisted I be under care regardless of pay.
Mhm.
4 or 5 months later, I felt like I had a new life. All
Mhm.
my conditions were
Mhm.
gone within about 4 or 5 months. I was doing
Wow.
90% better, and I was off 4 or 5 medications. So that was a
Wow.
pretty big life change. And like I said, it didn't just happen all at once, but
Mhm.
somewhere around that 4 or 5 months, I just, it's almost like waking up going, oh my gosh, what has happened here? Because I'm a
Mhm.
new person.
Mhm.
And I thought on that for about a year before I went back to that same chiropractor and said, I'm ready to go all in. How do I become a
Okay.
chiropractor? And
Yeah.
basically had to go back to school for 7 years.
Mhm.
I only had about a year of school up to that point.
Mhm.
And the tough part was figuring out where I was going to go after I graduated. And thankfully, I chose Huntsville, kind of
Mhm.
reluctant at the time.
Mhm.
Wasn't super excited about moving back to Huntsville, but I knew it was
Mhm.
changing quickly.
Yeah.
And I just felt a calling to come back here. And I also
Mhm.
knew that there was not enough chiropractors here,
Mhm.
especially with the specialties that I do.
Mhm.
And I just knew this community needed me. And so
Mhm.
it's been a great part of my life just coming back to Huntsville and looking at Huntsville in a whole new light. It's like I look at my own health and how I live in a completely
Mhm.
different way. And now I look at Huntsville in a completely different way,
Mhm.
being happy and healthy.
So when you were in Huntsville before, you were not feeling as healthy, and now
Mm-mm.
you are healthy, but you're back in Huntsville, and it's just a whole different experience.
Yeah, in fact, I left Huntsville because with sinus issues, and you probably understand, like this is a tough
Mhm.
area.
Yeah, yeah,
And
we
so
are. I'm a
I make,
native, and so yeah, we are in the Tennessee Valley, and things settle. And yeah, people come here who don't have allergies, and then they develop them. Yep,
yeah.
for sure.
And so coming back here with being a healthy person, now I love it. I
Hmm.
love the heat. I love the mountains. I love the
Hmm.
seasons. And,
Hmm.
now that my body can deal with it, it's like a
Hmm.
different place to me, as well as it's a different place than when I left it in 2002.
That's true. It has changed. So, what are some of your specialties? Like, what is it that you do that makes you unique as a
So
chiropractor?
So I'm an upper cervical specialist. What
Hmm.
that means is I specialize in the top two bones, or
Hmm.
really some people call us neck specialists, but the
Hmm.
cervical spine, but especially those top two. And that's relevant because your brainstem is going through those top two bones.
Hmm.
And so when we're taking care of that area, we're not just dealing with the classic thinking of neck pain, back pain, headaches, but we're
Hmm.
really dealing with the regulation of the body and how your body
Yeah.
functions as a whole. And
Hmm.
that's where my big healing came from. My
Hmm.
friend who got me into it was also an upper cervical specialist.
Hmm.
And in the beginning, that's actually all I knew of chiropractic. I didn't know
Hmm.
even he was a specialist at the time. I just
Hmm.
thought
Hmm.
that's how it was done.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so, it makes sense. I would want to become that specialist as well. It was easy for me to do that, going through that probably extra year of school while I was already in chiropractic
Hmm.
college. Most
Hmm.
people go through that afterwards, or maybe
Hmm.
5 or 10 years into their career before
Hmm.
they realize they want to specialize.
Hmm.
And then coming out of school, I quickly moved into being a pediatric specialist as well,
Hmm.
and more so just because I understood really quickly in business as a whole, if you want to take care of a lot of people, be a family chiropractor
Hmm.
and get
Hmm.
into that pediatric side of things,
Hmm.
because it's also an underserved area, and
Hmm.
it will just open up a whole nother, I guess, side of your business.
Hmm.
Because, and I had it in the beginning. People would come in, their lives were changed, and they'd say, I want you to start taking care of my kids.
Hmm.
And I look back and I have kind of a heart for that, because imagine the life I would have had growing up as a kid if I had been healthy,
Yeah.
and I was on all
Yeah.
these medications that I didn't want to be
Hmm.
on.
Hmm.
And I really actually feel for my parents, because they were just doing
Hmm.
what, mainstream society is teaching
Hmm.
people,
Hmm.
especially with the medical world.
Hmm.
But they're not even hearing that, hey, have you ever thought about getting your kids adjusted? And
Hmm.
I mean, look,
Hmm.
99% of the time,
Hmm.
if kids get adjusted, they will be healthy, and they will also
Well,
be drug free.
my
And nobody's
friend that
saying
I
that.
mentioned, she also said she's now has her kids coming to you, and it's just been great for her whole family. So, I mean, that's one person that I've talked to. I'm sure there may be plenty of others who could say the same thing, but that was quite a compliment coming from her. And but yeah, it's nice to hear a little bit about your background. Um, you know, I wish that I knew and understood more about chiropractic practice. Um, I feel like it's something that I'm only recently. My husband actually has just started seeing a chiropractor right before I learned about you, and we're hoping it's going to make a difference for him and something that
Mhm.
he's dealing with. But I have very little experience with chiropractors, so I don't, I need you to tell me more. Like what are some other things, what are some things you could tell us, maybe specific stories that no names given, but like specific instances you've dealt with that you've really helped somebody?
Well, I think it'd be easier to go in the opposite direction and make
Okay,
it as broad as possible,
sure. Okay.
because chiropractic is not being communicated well to the public. It's because
Yeah.
it's difficult, it's a hard conversation, and
Yeah.
the average person is going to come in with a symptom or a
Mm-hmm.
condition that they want
Mm-hmm.
help with.
Mm-hmm.
When I kind of flip the script on them on day one and say, well, I'm actually not here to treat your condition. It will probably get better, but what
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do is look for nerve interference in your spine, remove that nerve interference, yes, through a spinal adjustment. And
Mm-hmm.
when your nerve communication, your brain is reconnected with your body and communicating properly, the
Mm-hmm.
body will heal itself. And I
Okay.
tell people flat out, I don't treat anything. You treat
Mm-hmm.
yourself. I just remove the interference so the
Mm-hmm.
body can get back to natural healing. I mean, we are all
Yeah.
meant to be healthy, but
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of taught on the opposite of the spectrum that we either have this condition or we need this
Mm-hmm.
drug or surgery.
Mm-hmm.
But when people can understand that A, we're meant to be healthy,
Mm-hmm.
and B, we all get spinal misalignments, we call them subluxations. When
Mm-hmm.
you remove those subluxations and you do it often enough and you do
Mm-hmm.
it over a period of time, the
Mm-hmm.
body will get healthy. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really what I teach. I probably teach half my business is teaching people,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
reteaching them what health mindset should be like. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, I adjust them, but
Mm-hmm.
if I don't teach them first what to look
Mm-hmm.
for,
Mm-hmm.
and it's we're not missing people's shoulder pains or missing people's neck pain or back pain or headaches or
Mm-hmm.
conditions or
Mm-hmm.
but actually because the conversation starts that way, we're helping people with much more serious things: depression,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, thyroid
Mm-hmm.
dysfunction, high
Mm-hmm.
blood pressure,
Mm-hmm.
ADD,
Yeah.
chronic sinusitis, or what they
Mm-hmm.
call allergies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, those are things that affect
Mm-hmm.
our daily life, and those are the things that people get on a drug and never come off of,
Now, some
unfortunately.
of those things are considered autoimmune disorders. And would you say that that's something you can help with too, is autoimmune type
Absolutely.
problems?
I am, you know, I the best compliment is when the people that don't know me well label me as that crazy chiropractor, because when you really start getting into it and you start seeing what people can get better from, you start going, well, did that thing really even exist in the first place, or was
Mhm.
it just a label? And
Okay.
it's really kind of mind blowing that I'm getting to this point where it's like each year I believe
Mhm.
less and less in all this genetic stuff, autoimmune stuff, and and I almost just go, are they just saying this stuff just to get people on
Mhm.
medication? Because
Mhm.
if I can believe in healing and my
Mhm.
patient can believe in healing,
Mhm.
then nine times out of 10, they heal. And
I can give you
so,
a very practical example right now. I had a diagnosis of osteoarthritis, and then we went through some dietary changes for one of my children, and I also did it because our whole family made those dietary changes at
mhm,
that time. And I noticed that taking certain things out of my diet made me no longer have those joint problems. So
yeah,
I no longer eat certain foods and I know what triggers it. And I don't feel like I have arthritis at all.
yeah,
And yet I had that diagnosis, and especially in the winter months or the cooler months, I was starting to feel problems with it. And it was very, I mean, I struggled with it. It was not easy, and I had difficulty, getting up and down or trying to jog or run. Um, I never really jogged or ran that much because of that.
mhm.
Now I have a torn meniscus, and that's why I don't jog. But I do other things. But
Well, you bring up the point.
changing the diet was what helped me with that.
Yeah, you bring up the point that I tell people, and I've been telling them for 10 years, that my message hasn't changed. That if you want to be healthy, it's exercise, nutrition, and chiropractic. It's just do those
Mm,
things. And,
mm,
all of those are a journey. Your
mhm,
chiropractic is a journey. It's not about
mhm,
reaching perfect spinal health, because we're
mhm,
still going to get misalignments and we're still going to get nerve
mhm,
interference.
mhm,
Same is true about exercise.
mhm,
You don't get it all in one year and you're super
mhm,
fit and it's going to stay
mhm,
fit. No, it's a journey. And same with
mhm,
nutrition. I mean,
mhm,
nutrition is probably the hardest, because not only are they trying to poison us with our foods,
mhm.
but
Yeah.
it's such a broad, subject
Mhm,
matter, and there's
mhm,
a, accessibility to stuff,
mhm,
and it's not
mhm.
cheap to be healthy on the organic side. I mean, honestly,
Right, right.
I'll even tell people the easiest
Mhm.
thing for you to do is just start getting adjusted. You don't have to think about it. You just
Mhm,
show up every
mhm,
week,
mhm,
and I'll do all the thinking for
mhm,
you.
mhm.
Show up, get
Yep.
healthier, and then watch those other things start getting affected too. Because when you feel
Mhm,
better, you start moving more.
mhm,
It just starts with movement,
mhm,
and then that movement
mhm,
turns into exercise. And then when you're exercising more and your body
mhm,
is talking to you better, go figure, you
mhm,
start eating better.
mhm,
And I mean, I I don't take it lightly that my goal is to change lives,
mhm,
and it has nothing to do with, my ego, but
mhm,
that's what I want to do every single day, is hear
mhm,
people say, "Oh, my life was changed by Dr. Porter."
mhm.
And that's
Yes.
that's something I don't
Yeah.
take lightly. And
Mhm,
I mean, when it comes down to it, that's what I'm all about. Everything I
mhm,
do, even in my personal to my business life,
mhm,
is about serving more people, increasing my capacity to serve people,
mhm,
and even, living a life to that's going to lengthen my career and be able to take care of as many people and as long as possible. And,
mhm,
I hope I hear that thousands, if not tens of thousands of times, that people
mhm,
say, you know, my life was changed by
mhm,
chiropractic, or
mhm,
specifically me, but
mhm,
I want it to be about chiropractic. I want to teach
mhm,
other chiropractors how to change
mhm,
lives.
mhm.
So,
That is amazing, and that answers really one of the questions I had about the future aspirations and plans for your business. Is there anything you want to add to that, or is that kind of it?
I mean, one of the things I am currently on a venture of is becoming a elite endurance athlete at the moment in my 40s.
Mm,
I'm doing
okay.
this, only a little bit selfishly,
Mhm.
but my biggest reason to do it is to show it can be done. Here I was, a
Mhm.
sick kid. I missed half of PE in middle school,
Wow.
because of, both biomechanic and regulation problems. I was just a sick
Mhm,
kid. And here I
mhm,
am, 43, and this year I aspire to become an ultra runner. And
mm.
I'm not talking about an ultra race is 32 miles.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about just doing a one and done. Oh, I
Mhm,
did it.
mhm,
I'm talking about like doing them, if maybe every month soon,
wow,
like
wow.
and doing them through obstacle course racing, which is like a whole
Mhm,
nother level of difficulty. And
mhm,
I'm doing this to show people, you know, I've been putting 20 years into my chiropractic now,
mhm,
and learning how to eat better and learning how to exercise better. And I'm
mhm,
at the healthiest I've ever been at
mhm,
43. I told people I get healthier every year, and I've been doing that
mhm,
for 20 years.
mhm,
And it's like, maybe it's just me
mhm,
proving chiropractic works,
mhm,
but I bring that into my practice. And
mhm,
I kind of have conversations with people when they're like, "Oh, I can't do it because of this." And I'm
mhm.
just kind of like, you got to let go of that. You
Yeah,
got to move
yeah.
on. Well,
Mhm,
figure
mhm.
out what you can do.
Yeah.
Like it's snowing everywhere today, right? How many people did not do their workout today? And I did. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
put in almost 3 hours.
Yes.
I saw it as a blessing that I had the day off from work.
Mhm, so that you
And
could.
so, in my
Yeah.
mind, I got to work, which
Mhm.
was
Yeah.
working on being able to reach that goal. And I also
Mhm.
do that because I know, like I said earlier, I'm going to be
Mhm.
able to serve more people
Mhm.
and lengthen my career. I
Mhm.
mean, I already see about 300 visits a week when the average
Mm.
chiropractor sees 125.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I want to just see more. But when you
Mhm.
see what we've seen in my practice, you just want to
Mhm.
do more of it. You just want to
Mm.
help more
Because you
people
know
and
your
you just
health.
want to
Yeah,
teach more
that
kids
it
how to
just
be
kind of
healthy.
fuels itself, it sounds like, because you see that positive feedback of what's happening to these people. That's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah.
That
And
is so
even
great.
just my own gift of health. Like, I am so grateful of my own health because I've been on
Mhm.
the other side,
Mhm. Mhm.
and so I know I usually have more things to list off as health issues than most people
Mhm.
have that are, 10 or 20 years older than me.
Yeah. Well, that is truly amazing. You practice what you preach, obviously, and it has changed your life, and now you're changing other people's lives. If there's one thing you'd like our audience to take away from this interview about you and your business, just if you could narrow it down to the one thing, I know there's several, but what would it be?
I think that everyone should at least consider seeking me out and coming in to see if this can change their lives too. I think a lot of people need to hit the reset button, and
Mhm.
that's what I'm really good at. And I
Okay.
do it with love, but I am also not afraid to have the hard conversations and say what needs to be said.
Mhm.
There's a
Mhm.
reason all those, Navy SEALs are so popular right now because they're hitting the reset button in people.
Mhm.
And, but I can do that while, first of all, being there in person and taking care of their health. And it doesn't matter if they're 3 years old or 30 or 50,
Mhm.
like people that don't know what chiropractic can give them
Mhm.
should seek us out and see what it's all
Mhm.
about. What do you got to
Mhm.
lose? Couple hundred
Yeah.
dollars? Like, I
Do
think
you?
most people would pay thousands or tens of
Mhm.
thousands for their lives to
Mhm.
be changed.
This is true. And that's something when it comes to your health, you got to think, um, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure sometimes. It's like, what are you going to pay in the long run if you don't make the investment up front sometimes? And
Absolutely.
that's very important to consider. So where can our audience find you if they want to get in touch with you?
The easiest one is funchiropractic.com.
Fun.
So,
Okay.
yeah, FUN, Fun
Hmm.
Chiropractic. You can find us on Google by just looking up Functional Chiropractic.
Hmm.
We have an office in South Huntsville on the Parkway, and ironically, straight up the Parkway, 45 minutes in Fayetteville, Tennessee,
Hmm.
just about on the same road. Um,
Okay.
and so, yeah, we're serving that community as well. And
Hmm.
I know there's a lot of people in between South Huntsville and Fayetteville. And, my average patient drives over 30 minutes to come see us because once they find
Hmm.
out what we do, they
Hmm.
want it. So yeah, just look us up, funchiropractic.com
Okay.
or functional chiropractic on, Google.
Okay.
We're pretty easy to find.
Well, we just so appreciate this message today. So glad to meet you. And who knows, I may be coming in sometime or some of my family members, but if we need to, we definitely will consider it. And I hope that our audience will also consider it.
And thank you so much for having me and bringing me on. I really appreciate any opportunity to get our message out. And I think this is a great platform for what you're doing for other businesses.
Oh,
But
thank
just,
you.
yeah, thank you so much for this.
You're most welcome. I'm excited about sharing about these businesses with our community and so glad to share about yours. And now I'll know and be able to tell people more about you. Well, you stay warm and have a great 2024, Dr. Porter.
Thank you. You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.